Bernie Sanders and AOC in the building. You guys are about to go up and speak at another one of the rallies that you've been doing, the Fighting Oligarchy.
We are looking at a nation which is now oligarchic. And they don't hide it. I mean, I must give them credit for that. You know, they're out there. Mr. Musk, the richest guy in the world, is running all over the place, cutting veterans, the needs of veterans, going after Social Security. There are, in addition to Musk, he got 13 nominees of Trump to head major agencies who are all billionaires. So you got a government, clearly, no embarrassment, of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, for the billionaire class. And then what is, I would hope, would be upsetting to all Americans, no matter what their politics may be. You can be conservative about this. You got a president who is moving us very rapidly into an authoritarian form of society.
There is such an irony to Democrats talking about oligarchy because, of course, for every one billionaire that backed President Trump, Kamala Harris had 2. 9 of the 10 richest counties in America are represented by Democrats. 65% of Americans making over $500,000 a year today are Democrats. 75% of hedge fund managers who make political donations donate to Democrats, and 95% of political donations from the top 3 management consulting firms go to Democrats. Meanwhile, President Trump absolutely crushed with Americans who make under $100,000 a year. The Democrats are the party of the wealthy. And Donald Trump is representing the working class because he simply lifted the pro-worker elements of the Democrats' agenda when they abandoned the working class to cater to their rich base. This is all performance art. And what's so upsetting about it is they are being paid by the American people to serve them, and they are doing nothing of the kind.
All right, guys, so we got to continue our coverage of the Democrat Party Civil War as you have the socialist/communist wing of the Democrat Party, the AOCs and the Bernies of the world. They are going on tour, right? They're going on tour to tell the country about how they're going to fight the oligarchy, right? Which, again, is extremely ironic considering how the Democrat Party is the party of the rich. I mean, look at their voter base, okay? I mean, if you made over $100,000 a year, you are more likely to vote Democrat. If you're a millionaire, you're more likely to vote Democrat. If you're a billionaire, you're more likely to vote Democrat. Also, on top of that, Joe Biden's policies overwhelmingly benefited the rich, okay, through asset inflation, and it hurt the middle class and the poor via just the inflation of everyday goods and services. We haven't even mentioned all of the billionaires that donate to the Democrat Party, that finance the Democrat Party. In fact, the billionaires are part of the reason why there was a coup against Joe Biden, okay? The oligarchy of the Democrat Party staged a coup against Joe Biden and installed Kamala Harris and then pumped billions of dollars behind her just for her to lose to Trump, okay? So, again, AOC has no room to talk, okay? The Democrat Party is the oligarchy, okay? They are a party of projection at this point. Everything that comes out of their mouth is basically a confession about themselves. And in my opinion, I think this is part of the reason why they stopped raging against the millionaires, right? And now they're just sticking with the billionaires, right? Remember, it used to be the millionaires and the billionaires, right? They're the problem. Now, all of a sudden, it's just the millionaires. Well, why did they stop talking about the millionaires? Well, maybe it's because AOC, Bernie, Jasmine Crockett, like all of these progressive Democrats that claim to be fighting against the rich, well, they are rich, right? They're very rich, okay? And again, this is why now they're pointing a finger at people that are richer than them and say, hey, well, they're the problem, right? Not me, not the millionaire limousine liberals who want to steal your tax dollars and give it to illegal immigrants in the Ukraine and to the liberal nonprofits. No, we're not the problem. Don't pay attention to us, okay? Even though these people are the problem, okay? The AOCs, the Bernies, the Jasmine Crotchets, they are the problem with the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is way too far left. But hey, you have some idiots that believe the issue isn't that we're too far left. No. The issue is that we're too far right. And that the AOCs, the Bernies, the Jasmine Crotchets, the Ilhan Omars, the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ayanna Presleys, they should lead the Democrat Party. That leadership should step aside, right? And let the lunatics lead the party. And that is the argument that failed Congressman Jamal Bowman made on CNN, and he's going to get a brutal reality check from Republicans about what would happen if AOC actually became the leader of the Democrat Party. Take a look.
I assume you approve this message.
100%, absolutely. Democrats are in a crisis right now. They're on life support. They have a testicular fortitude problem. They are not fighting nearly as hard as they need to fight for the American people, as was seen last week during this CR vote in the Senate. It's a problem. And for me, it's not about the parties, because the parties are going to kind of do their thing. It's about the people rising up and holding the parties accountable. Democrats have fighters. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, the whole squad, Greg Casar, Pramila Jayapal, and governors and mayors across the country are fighters. But we need some of the OGs in the party to elevate, uplift the younger people
or do they
and
need
take a
to,
step back.
Do they need to step aside?
And or step aside, because we need to hear new, fresh, bold voices. That's what the American people want. And if the party doesn't do that, the party is about to be finished.
I hope that AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Greg Casar, I hope they're the new face of the Democratic Party, because Republicans will be winning elections all over the country if that is the face of the Democratic Party. Are you?
I mean, y'all
listen, a district like mine that Joe Biden won by 10 points, okay, 10 points. Kamala Harris won by half a point. Okay, I won by 6.5 points, 24,000 votes in a district that has 85,000 more Democrats than Republicans. Why?
And you're right.
Because the
Democrats. But you ran against a cornball candidate.
He was your friend.
He was not my friend.
He was your friend.
You
long
had
ago.
someone running against you who was not a strong candidate, and we still
we agree on.
We still have consultants and big money controlling the Democratic Party, compromising
she did
it.
outperform Kamala Harris in her
Come on
district.
now.
Trump did,
Sure.
Trump
He
did
knows
better
this.
than
But here's my point. The New York, look no further than New York, where issues like cashless bail have been a disaster, issues like sanctuary state status, congestion pricing. In districts like mine, where Democrats on paper should win big, they're losing. And so if the messenger is AOC, who, by the way, was originally from my district, she grew up in Yorktown, not the Bronx. If AOC is the face of the Democratic Party in swing districts all across this country, she will mobilize voters way more than Nancy Pelosi ever did.
Let me just add the counterpoint within the Democratic Party to what AOC is saying. From this is Elisa Slotkin. She gave the Democratic response to the State of the Union address much more of a moderate voice in the party. Listen.
I can't just chain myself to the White House and become an activist full time, because you and others here are going to call me for things that you need. All of those things require me to be more than just an AOC. I can't do what she does, because we live in a purple state and I'm a pragmatist. I gotta save things for my people.
See,
things are getting messy.
Come on,
there.
son.
It's getting very messy.
That's white flag energy right there.
Names are
that's
being
white
put on the
flag
table.
energy right there.
No, I think she's right.
What do you mean you think she's right? First of all, even choosing her to give the response to Governor Trump.
That's your party.
Governor Trump. I should call him Governor Trump.
That's
President Trump was a problem.
You should be the chairman, by the way.
I mean,
the
this
advice
is
you gave
crazy.
him.
All right, let me let Joe finish.
Go ahead, brother.
You know, she is right in the sense that it's easy to throw grenades. You can be an AOC and throw grenades all day in a safe district and not have to account for anything. There's a huge delta between the hype of AOC and the accomplishments of AOC. And frankly, if you look at that tour she was just on with Bernie Sanders, right? It was called the Fighting Oligarchy Tour, right? They essentially traveled the country and spoke to an echo chamber of people who already agree with them. How is she and Bernie Sanders, with their message, going to attract people in swing districts by the Fighting Oligarchy Tour?
They're not going to, right? The Republicans are 100% right. If AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, any of these individuals that Jamal Bowman is talking about, if they become the leader of the Democrat Party is over. They're not going to win any elections, okay? So again, I'm low-key, right? Just for the sake of the Republicans increasing the majority, so that Republicans can actually, execute on the things that they claim they want to do, right? There's no excuses anymore. Oh, our majority is too small, right? Like, actually, again, in the hopes of expanding the majority, right? So we can do what we actually really want to do, okay? And stop this judicial coup that's happening in this country. I hope that the AOCs win. I hope they win, right? I hope that the so-called Fight the Oligarchy tour results in Democrat leadership being overthrown and that these radical progressives take over the leadership of the Democrat Party so that it's guaranteed that they will lose, right? I'm really hoping so. Okay, and it's just hilarious to me because Jamal Bowman, again, a guy, he should have been expelled from Congress for lying about why he pulled a fire alarm, right, in order to obstruct an official proceeding. But this guy lost his race big, right? This guy got blown out in his race because he was too radical, right? And that's what he doesn't understand. Okay, you lost your race because you're too radical. Okay, you're a loser. You're a cornball candidate. Clearly, that's what your constituents thought about you, right? You sat up in Congress and you did nothing but boohoo, whine, and cry racism and bigotry. You accomplished absolutely nothing at all, and you got primaried and you lost, right? You lost your seat. So again, guys like him, I just wouldn't take advice from him in regards to winning elections or what appeals to people, anything like that, because this guy is a proven loser, right? He's a loser. So as long as you have delusional losers like Jamal Bowman that'll push you to party in a more radically left direction, then, hey, I guess for Republicans, that is a great thing, right? What is happening right now with Democrats is a great thing, okay? We have to talk about another brutal reality check because, again, Gavin Newsom is one of the few Democrats who at least publicly has acknowledged that, hey, my party is too radically far left and that we're going to have to make some changes. We're going to have to at least appear to move to the right. We're going to have to at least appear to have some common sense. We're going to have to at least appear to not be woke in order to have a chance. The problem with Gavin Newsom, okay, is that his actual record is so bad that he cannot run away. He cannot run away from the things that he supported in the past that are extremely unpopular. And even CNN is going to call this man out on his BS, on his fake evolution to become a moderate. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Quote, what in God's name is going on with Gavin Newsom? That's a headline, and there's headline after headline asking that sort of question as the country is trying to figure out how he went from progressive hero and governor of the most liberal state in the country to interviewing and spending time with MAGA favorites like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk on his new podcast. Tonight, our K-File looked into that, finding that Newsom, well, he's really completely changed his tune on some of the most hot-button issues for Democrats. K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. And Andrew, just going through some of these, he's got this podcast, and the concept was he wanted to talk to the other side, right? He was going to go into the lion's den. And remember back in the day when he did that debate with DeSantis, right? This is consistent.
Yeah.
So his first time, though, he goes out and he backs away from some unpopular progressive policies, even ones that he's championed. So let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
No
go?
more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him, right?
Yeah, that's right. And look, these aren't minor shifts. These are progressive issues that Gavin Newsom used to champion until fairly recently. And now he's not just walking away from them. He's sort of acting like they were never legitimate with that clip talking about Latinx in the first place. But let's take Latinx. We did find somebody who used it repeatedly in his office. Let's take a listen to this.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
Yeah. This guy, when CNN is exposing you, when CNN is fact-checking a Democrat on his fake political evolution, right? You know it's bad. Like, it's real bad, okay? This guy is a political chameleon, right? That is what Gavin Newsom is, right? He's a chameleon, okay? He is whoever he needs to be in the moment. He's like Kamala Harris, right? Is this like a thing with Democrats from California, right? Where they just pretend to be something that they're not. Okay, like, again, the same thing happened with Kamala. Again, this was part of the reason why she lost. She's on record being the most progressive far-left senator in American history, right? More far-left than Bernie Sanders, okay? And now all of a sudden, when she was running for president, oh, well, she's some moderate, right? She's a centrist, okay? But it didn't work because it wasn't believable. Now, the difference is that Gavin Newsom, he's trying to get ahead of it, right? So, I mean, the dude is smart as hell, to be honest with you. He's a sleazy, greasy guy. But what he's doing is smart because it's the only way that he's going to have a chance. The American people just have to be smarter and realize this dude is fake, okay? He's trying to get ahead of it, right? He's trying to give himself some time to make his political evolution believable, right? Kamala Harris's political evolution was not believable because it happened as soon as she decided she was running for president, and she refused to answer questions at all about what she believed in the past, okay? Didn't answer any questions about why is it that she changed. She didn't explain it. Gavin Newsom doing this podcast, it gives him an opportunity to do what Kamala Harris failed to do, which is to explain, okay, this is why I'm changing, right? This is why I'm moving in a new direction. It makes it more believable because I don't believe it, and it's not genuine. Also, on top of that, even if it was genuine, I'm still not giving him credit because he should have never got on board with the lunacy in the first place, right? You still have to be punished for the fact that you got on board with these far-left policies that have destroyed California, right? You don't just get a pass because, oh, I changed, right? It's like, no. You already implemented these things in California. You are responsible for the downfall of California. You don't just get a pass, right? Just because you have changed, right? For political reasons, because you want to run for president. Again, it doesn't work that way. So, again, that's what he's really trying to do. And it's just hilarious to see CNN calling him out.
And look, Aaron, those aren't the only times that we found that he used it. He also used it a lot on social media. Look at a few of these right here. You see there, that is a lot of use of Latinx by him for somebody who said that nobody in his office has ever used that phrase.
Right. Sort of that was put upon him. All right. So he's also rewriting history a bit on his stance on transgender issues, which he had a point of view on his podcast again just 2 weeks ago. Here's where he is now.
It turns out in 2014, years before I was governor, there was a law established that established the legal principles that allow trans athletes in women's sports. But the issue of fairness is completely legit. It is an issue of fairness, and I think Democrats have lost that.
No, he didn't always feel that way.
No, that's right. And look, in that statement, he's kind of making it sound like he wasn't involved in this at all. He's like, oh, it was in 2014, years before I was governor. Like, you mean when you were the lieutenant governor? When you actively defended and praised that law? And one of the videos that we found was actually him praising not just the governor at the time, Jerry Brown, but the California state legislature for putting that in place at the time. Take a listen to this.
Thank you for what you did on civil rights for students in our schools, transgender rights in this state.
This is all the way back in 2014, bro. All the way back in 2014. Before it was mainstream, okay, to take those type of positions. Gavin Newsom was ahead of his time, right? He was a progressive. Wow. Now all of a sudden, he is so enlightened centrist. Bruh, this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. 2025 is the best timeline ever, to be honest with you.
Okay, so then there's that. Then there's transgender issues, right? Transgender policies. The governor referenced your own reporting on Kamala Harris's support for those taxpayer-funded sex change operations for detained migrants, right? Remember here when we had that conversation? Okay. It sifted the presidential campaign, right? That moment here. So here he is talking about it.
Trump's for you. She's for they, them.
And
devastating.
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 But let's talk
and
about,
she didn't even react to it, which was even more
and let's
devastating.
Talk about,
so he's referring to the ad that they put out using the clip from when you were here. Only a handful of years ago, though, he agreed with Kamala Harris on this very issue.
Yeah, and it has been the law in California to allow transition care for prisoners since 2017. Gavin Newsom didn't speak out or say anything about it until now. 5 years later when it became a political liability. And in fact, he signed a landmark transgender rights bill for prisoners that affirmed their right to have this type of care. And he approved a state Medicaid expansion that also extended gender-affirming care to undocumented immigrants. So his record on this is really not matching the rhetoric that he was putting out in that podcast.
All right, so what's he saying tonight about all this?
So we reached out to their spokespeople. They declined to comment on record. They sent us on background comments that said that he's worked to protect transgender youth. They said, quote, Latinx is not a term that is regularly used by the administration, and they did not clarify his comments on transgender prisoners at all, saying only that the governor's comments speak for themselves.
All right.
Wow. Hey, I didn't think, I would ever really say this, but good job, CNN, right? Good job. If CNN actually did more of that, okay, when it comes to holding Democrats accountable instead of raging over Trump, maybe they get some viewers back, because that was actually a pretty good fact check there from CNN. So my point is this. It's looking really bad for Democrats, right? They're about to overthrow their leadership, and who they're going to replace their leadership with, the American people are really not going to have any good choices, right? It's going to be a fake moderate, right? Like Gavin Newsom, who is full-blown far left, okay? He's a fake moderate, okay? He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Or the open far leftists, the open lunatics, AOC, Bernie Sanders, the Jasmine Crotchets. That's essentially what it comes down to at this point, okay? The Democrat Party, whoever they put forward, again, is going to be a far leftist, right? It's just a matter of, are they going to be faking as a moderate, right? Or are they going to just openly be insane, right? I'm just saying, like, that's essentially what's happening here. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.